this video, I will be talking about Super Metroid, the third entry in Nintendo's Metroid series, my favorite 2D entry in the series, and a popular choice for speedrunning, both tool-assisted and unassisted. The game begins with a prologue which includes recaps of the events of the first two Metroid games. This is a great idea because it makes the game accessible to players who haven't played both of the first two Metroid games to completion. Another great thing about the prologue is the great song, which does a great job at setting up the atmosphere of the game. I will summarize the first two Metroid games for context. In the original Metroid game, bounty hunter Samus Aran goes to the planet Zebes to stop the space pirates from using energy-sucking aliens called Metroids as weapons against civilization. The game ends with Samus destroying the space pirate leader, an organic supercomputer called Mother Brain. In Metroid 2 Return of Samus, Samus goes to the home planet of the Metroids, planet SR-388, to eradicate the Metroids. The game ends with Samus killing all Metroids except for one egg. The Metroid that hatches from the egg harmlessly follows Samus, and Samus decides to take the hatchling with her off the planet. Now for the premise of Super Metroid. Samus takes the last surviving Metroid to the Ceres space colony so that scientists can study it. The scientists find out that the Metroid's powers could be beneficial to civilization. A satisfied Samus leaves the colony to look for a new bounty to hunt, but shortly afterwards she receives a distress signal from Ceres and immediately heads back. After returning to Ceres, Samus finds the scientists dead and finds that the Metroid hatchling is not in the room the studies had been conducted in. Samus finds out that Ridley, the military commander of the space pirates, has stolen the hatchling. Samus fights Ridley, but Ridley escapes the colony and the colony's self-destruct sequence begins. Samus escapes the colony and follows Ridley to planet Zebes. Samus must now search planet Zebes for the Metroid hatchling and stop the space pirates from using it for nefarious purposes. I will now talk about the gameplay. Samus's arm cannon fires its standard beam shots at a good rate and fires missiles at good rates. In addition, Samus's shooting has great reach due to the range of the shots and due to Samus's ability to shoot horizontally, straight up, straight down, and diagonally. Samus can even shoot straight up or diagonally while crouching, which is a great feature and reduces potential frustration. The charge beam is a welcome addition to Samus's weaponry. Firing charged beams is very satisfying, and they are capable of damaging bosses, thus reducing the frustration of running out of missiles during a boss fight. I love that the beam upgrades can be combined, as it adds depth to the gameplay and allows the player to have all of the abilities of different beam upgrades simultaneously, thus giving the player convenience. On a related note, I love that the player can enable or disable acquired weapons abilities or suit upgrades. This allows the player to play without abilities they do not find useful in a situation or challenge themselves by intentionally weakening Samus. Another welcome addition to Samus's weaponry is the Super Missile, which looks cool, fires at a good rate, and is stronger than standard missiles, thus helping with the pacing of battles. The grappling beam is another great addition due to the well-executed swinging mechanic and the sense of excitement and danger that the swinging creates. The X-ray scope, which is used to reveal breakable blocks, has a cool graphical effect and is a great help with the exploration aspect. The reserve tanks are great because they store excess energy from energy pickups, and they can be set to automatic so that they recover energy when Samus loses all of her suit energy. The automatic healing is great because it allows the player to focus more on playing and less on energy management. The speed booster is fun to use because the top speed is good. Samus can kill most enemies with the dash at top speed, reducing potential frustration, and the after images of Samus are cool. I also love the returning Morph Ball, Standard Bomb, Space Jump, and Screw Attack abilities, and the new Power Bombs. The gameplay is made even better with the game's colorful and highly detailed sprites and environments. On the subject of sprites, I love that Samus's sprites are not mirrored. In other words, her left-facing sprites are completely different from her right-facing sprites. This attention to detail is a great touch and allows for fluidly animated changes in direction. I will now talk about Planet Zebes. The planet is large, well-drawn, and detailed. In addition, the planet is open-ended and progression through the planet is non-linear, thus giving the player a large degree of freedom while exploring the planet. The game comes with an in-game map, which is helpful for keeping track of progress in the labyrinthine planet. On a related note, the optional map stations, which give the player map data, are a great touch and a great convenience. The areas that the planet is divided into are greatly varied, thus adding depth and adding to the exploration element of the game. The multiple paths that Samus can take throughout the planet reward exploration with hidden upgrades. The energy capacity upgrades and weapon capacity upgrades that Samus can pick up add a sense of growth to the exploration component and rewards players with increased combat convenience. The non-essential beam upgrades also reward exploration with increased combat convenience. The songs that play in the different environments add to the exploration component, go well with their respective environments, and add the right moods to their respective environments. My favorite songs include Theme of Samus Aran Galactic Warrior, as well as both Brinstar songs and Lower Norfair. I will now talk about the boss battles. The mid-bosses and bosses are imaginative, varied, well-drawn, and impressively detailed, while also going well with their respective environments and having great attacks. Speaking of bosses, I love that both Ridley and Kraid return from the original Metroid and are better drawn and more intimidating than before. Their two high-ranking fellow space pirates, the ghostly Phantoon and the underwater crustacean-like Dragon, are welcome additions to the space pirates. The mid-boss battles and boss battles all have great songs too. I especially like Ridley and Dragon's battle song for the sense of danger it creates and its energetic tone which goes well with the attacks of Ridley and Dragon. The other battle songs go well with their respective bosses and go well with the attacks of the bosses. My favorite mid-boss fights are against Brinstar's Spore Spawn and Meridia's Serpentine mid-boss Botwoon. Out of the four high-ranking space pirates I mentioned shortly before, my favorites to fight are Kraid and Dragon. I will now talk about the final area of the game, Turian, the space pirate's base. The Metroids attacking in the early rooms of Turian is a great callback to the original Metroid and adds tension to Turian. I also love the sequence which happens about halfway through Turian. In one hallway in Turian, a strong enemy appears before Samus and a large Metroid appears, latches onto the enemy and sucks the enemy dry, leaving a husk of the enemy and creating an unsettling situation. The situation is made even more unsettling when the same Metroid latches onto Samus. Just as Samus is about to die, the situation turns hopeful when the Metroid calms down and leaves Samus alone, making it clear that the Metroid is the hatchling Samus had been looking for, and that the Metroid recognizes Samus. Samus's search for the hatchling has thus come to a close, and Samus can focus on stopping the space pirates. I will now talk about the final battle, which is against a reconstructed Mother Brain and is my favorite battle in the game. The first phase of the battle is a great callback to the Mother Brain battle in the original Metroid. I love the transition between the first two phases. Mother Brain seemingly dying after the first phase and the lack of music give the impression of an anticlimactic end and an easy victory. Mother Brain's head rising while attached to a massive mobile body and disturbing music playing then creates an unsettling and intense atmosphere. The atmosphere, the impressive detail of the body, the intimidating and powerful attacks, and Mother Brain's scream make this phase a lot of fun to play. At the end of the phase, Mother Brain creates a seemingly hopeless situation by incapacitating Samus with a powerful and cool-looking beam attack. Just as Mother Brain is about to kill Samus with another beam, the situation turns around in a satisfying way with the Metroid hatchling swooping in, latching onto Mother Brain, and absorbing Mother Brain's energy until Mother Brain is a dry husk. The situation becomes hopeful when the hatchling replenishes Samus's energy, but the hopefulness is lost when Mother Brain replenishes its own energy and attacks the hatchling. The situation seems to become less hopeful when Mother Brain kills the hatchling. Fortunately, the dying Metroid is able to power Samus's arm cannon and give her a beam capable of killing Mother Brain. Thus, the third and final phase, and my favorite phase, begins. Damaging Mother Brain with the new beam is very satisfying because of the head getting knocked back with each hit, and Mother Brain screaming with each hit. The phase's use of Theme of Samus Aran Galactic Warrior adds to the hopefulness of the situation, and goes well with the end of the battle coming close. Mother Brain's death sequence is satisfying on its own, and a satisfying end to Mother Brain's emotional roller coaster of a battle. After Mother Brain's death, a self-destruct sequence begins and Samus must return to her gunship before the timer runs out. The escape sequence is great and exciting because of the great use of Ridley and Dragon's battle theme, the intensity added by the timer, and the planet shaking. I will now talk about the ending. The sequence of Samus escaping the exploding planet Zebes is detailed, well drawn, and well animated. The scene ends in a satisfying way with Samus's gunship flying away from the explosion site perfectly fine, and with a short and sweet triumphant song, a satisfying successful completion message, and the player's completion time. The credit sequence that follows is great because of the beautiful and triumphant song that goes well with the end of a dangerous space exploration mission. After the credits, Samus appears in a brief scene and, depending on the player's completion time, either does nothing to her power suit, removes her helmet, or removes her power suit, in which case she wears a casual outfit instead. My favorite version is the one with Samus in her casual outfit. Samus in her casual outfit is drawn very well, and Samus letting her hair down is a nice touch. Samus shooting the screen afterward is a great touch, as is the final screen with its well-drawn Federation logo and its satisfying message, "See you next mission." Overall, Super Metroid continues to be a strong entry in the Metroid series and a masterpiece among exploration games, with its highly detailed and colorful graphics, great soundtrack, large open-ended map, non-linear progression, great rewards for exploration, smooth play control, large number of abilities, and great combat. That concludes my review of Super Metroid. Take care.